Since 1999, the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo said it. The administration of Umaru Yar'Adua said it. The administration of Goodluck Jonathan said it. Muhammadu Buhari repeated it before Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration now put it into action. No doubt about it. The most difficult thing to do or to achieve for any human being is Thank you so very much. For this session, we are going to address decisions at the highest level of governance and how it affects the cost of living of the average or ordinary Nigerians. And I said the highest level of political decision making, referring to the federal government and the state government, because there are different governmental levels in Nigeria, the national and the sub-national. As a matter of fact, at the local government level, the local government council is the highest level of decision making. So political decisions are made at the national and sub-national levels in Nigeria. The sub-national can further be broken into the state and the local government level. And I would want to call our attention to this video, that we should like, subscribe, and share, and as well as send comments so as to further animate the discourse. The discourse should interest every discerning Nigerian because it's our story. And we must all belong, or we must participate one way or the other, either by commending, by criticizing, or by sharing our views. I would like to do more of a scenario buildings for this session, particularly concerning decision makings and how it is affecting the day-to-day life of ordinary Nigerians. One of the very popular bone of contention, particularly since the commencement of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration in Nigeria, is the removal of subsidy on petroleum products or on food, and the way the president mentioned it on his first day in office. It was a bit shocking, or it was largely shocking to Nigerians. But sincerely, for those who are interested and those who have followed the trajectory of governance in Nigeria, it may not be that shocking to them. Because first and foremost, it is part of the reforms that successive administrations in Nigeria have mentioned as necessary. That reforms are necessary in Nigeria. Since 1999, the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo said it. The administration of Umaru Yar'Adua said it. The administration of Goodluck Jonathan said it. Muhammadu Buhari repeated it before Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration now put it into action.
Travel beyond limits. Nothing required from you except your bags. From Nigeria to zero travel limits, DigiFly beyond limits.
No doubt about it, the most difficult thing to do or to achieve for any human being is change. And removal of subsidies is one of the change that government feels is necessary in Nigeria. I would like to provide information before going into the pros and cons of the removal of subsidy. It is not only fuel that is subsidized by government in Nigeria. There are many aspects of our life, education, health, communication, and so on and so forth, that are subsidized by government in Nigeria. And because the average Nigerian has been so much used to subsidy, it is like taking away breast milk from a child. Usually, it is a very painful period for a child who has been so much used to the breast milk. Sometimes it can also be painful for the mother because no mother feels good hearing the cry of our child. How exactly are this affected the day-to-day cost of living in Nigeria? Hardly is there any aspect of Nigeria economy or any aspect of our lifestyle that is not affected by the supply of petrol in particular, and to a considerable extent, diesel. Maybe before I go into the implications and consequences of all of this on the cost of living, I should quickly provide the information that I'm not part of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, but I know for sure that provisions were not made, budgetary provisions were not made for subsidy in the 2023 budget. Meaning that the immediate past Muhammadu Buhari administration had it in mind that subsidy, particularly on petroleum products or refined products from crude oil, will be removed. And that's why, because yearly there are budgetary allocations, budgetary provisions to support subsidy. That was not there. And so it was a fait accompli. It was ab initio prepared for by the past administration. Certainly, this has affected the cost of living in Nigeria. And it has also worsened the poverty level and the effects of poverty in Nigeria. It has made life a lot more difficult for Nigerians. And that's why quite a number of people have argued that maybe the government did not have this well thought out by having in place provisions that will cushion the effects of the removal of subsidy. Part of those things that people have argued about or campaigned for is that possibly public transportation for commuters would have been made as part of the holistic plan or composite plan for the removal of subsidy. That was not in place to a large extent. If it was in place, it was not effectively implemented. And this would have spiral effects. It means that rent is likely to go up. It means that the cost of food items is likely to go up. It means that the security is threatened, because insecurity that is related to hunger particularly petty crimes, is likely to increase. All of these are pointing to the fact that removal of subsidy can indirectly worsen the insecurity situation in Nigeria. But I think another way to it is that part of the proceeds of the subsidy that was removed, part of the proceeds got into the coffers of states. It's interesting that we have people who have said the president should have commanded the governors as to what they are to use the money given to them, or the money that they received from the subsidy removal. They should have used such money in particular ways. I stand to be corrected. That will not be possible for the president. I've said this severally in classrooms, in public discourses, and so on and so forth. Why is this not possible? It is not possible because we are not operating a military system of government. The president of Nigeria has a political mandate that is different from the political mandate of the state governor. For example, the governor of Osun State got into office with a mandate that is different from that of the president. The governor of Abia State, the governor of Anambra State, the governor of Kano State, the governors of the 36 states of the federation have their different mandates. So the president of Nigeria does not have powers to direct or command state governors as to what they are to do with the allocations that they received from the fuel subsidy removal. People have also said that maybe the president should have held on to the subsidies and used such subsidies directly. I will also say that, yes, that may have its merits, but it also has its demerits. And I'll cite maybe two examples. In the first place, it is a cliche today, it's a common saying to point to why Nigeria needs to restructure because the federal government is too powerful. If the federal government has not withheld subsidies when we say that the federal government is too powerful, what happens? It means that the federal government will become a behemoth of sorts and an octopus of sorts if it had the withdrawn subsidies to its responsibilities or to its duties. The Constitution does not allow that. The Constitution does not provide for that. The president couldn't have held on to that.